Are we really free? Absolutely. It's not something that was given to us by any government or revolution. It was something given to us by our birth as a human being. We were given the right, the privilege, the gift of the freedom of thought, the freedom of action, the freedom to speak. It says on the order of service, yes, but. Well, the but is the limitations that we have on our freedom, mostly self-imposed or self-invited or self-accepted. This talk started off being something a bit different in my brain a while ago. I'm going to talk about the difference that we have in this place rather than other places called church. Last week, there was a quote on the order of service from Ernest Holmes that said, humanity is so hypnotized because we spend our thoughts thinking what other people have told us to think. And as I studied theology and philosophy, and most religions are theology, maybe the Buddhist religion might be more of a philosophy than a theology. But for the most part, they outline and prescribe certain lifestyles that you're supposed to adhere to. They have beliefs that you're supposed to believe. Governments have certain lifestyles that you're supposed to live. Certain things you're supposed to believe. I want to inspire each of you. My job is to get each of you to think freely. Think for yourselves. It doesn't make a whole lot of difference to me personally what you think or what you believe. That's your life. It's your power to create your life. I had the delightful experience one morning this week to have breakfast with a very good friend of mine. She happens to be a Spanish teacher. And she said, you know, languages are fascinating because so often they really give you some insight into the culture. And she said, like the Latin culture, she said, they're different. The language is different. And she said, her perception was that it seems like in the Latin culture, people don't feel like they run and control everything. There's a bit of humility there. And I kicked that around. And I compared that to our culture. I don't know what to call our culture exactly. Maybe an Anglo culture, I don't know, European culture that has evolved. But there's very little humility in our culture. We have always been told that we are the best, we're the good guys, we're the best place on earth to be. Well, that may or may not be true. That's up to everyone's personal perception. Then there's the great American dream. We've been told that American dream is you're free here to do whatever you want to do and make as much money as you want and get whatever education we can. And I've really thought about that. we've been told that's the American dream. But when I sit back and look at the American dream and our culture, I sum it up in 3 words. Feed the greed. And I'm wondering, don't we have within us this freedom? Aren't we free to go past the greed and all of the cultivating and being told what to think and to believe, and look inside of us, like I spoke last week. Look inside there, and what is there? There is that being that has unlimited choice, unlimited power, unlimited wisdom and knowledge. Don't we have the freedom to shift that dream, to shift that philosophy? I think every one of us, I look at myself, how many decisions in my life have been based on, well, how much money will that bring in? Can I afford that? How many times have we heard that success is what makes you happy? When I think, my opinion, that actually the opposite is true. You look at successful people, and the reason they're successful is because they chose to be happy first. When we choose happiness, when we choose to have joy in our life, success is almost unavoidable. We all have the freedom to create our own life. We've had it since we took our first breath. And every single one of us, me included, allows so many other people to infringe upon that. When we make these decisions and these choices, are they based on just us? Or are they based, like our board, on the good of the whole? I was reading somewhere, I don't know, maybe it was Upbeat Times or something, some interesting fact. It said there are more atoms in a glass of water than there are glasses of water in all of the oceans. And that's just kind of a weird fact, and I didn't measure it personally, but in your body, how many atoms are in your body? And they are part of the atoms of the air that's around you, of the energy that's around you. And we are, every one of us, are an integral part of this room, the consciousness in this room. The amount of oxygen and carbon dioxide in this room, we're all a part of it. And when we exercise our freedom, it seems to me that we would feel better if it included everyone and everything in this room. I'm going to invite you to read along the last quote. You can just read silently. Liberty is too precious a thing to be buried in books. Humans should hold it up in their hands every day of their lives and say from the deepest fathoms of their soul, I am free. Free to think, to speak, and to act the way a real, novel, civilized being should. My ancestors couldn't, but I can and my children will. You want some hope? Read that quote. That is the hope that I think all of us could have, is this freedom that each one of us has within us, this, our core, our very essence of the divine, of God, of spirit. It's in us. And we are free to choose what of those gifts we want to share and use. It's all in there. Greed and fear and hate and anger and love and compassion and acceptance and caring and consideration and empathy. We are free to choose from an infinite number of choices. Yes, we are really free, but we have to determine how to use it, how to maintain it, how to share it. That is our hope as a species. That is our hope as an individual. That is our hope as a community. Denise talked about her mother. Each one of us has that freedom every day to act in kindness and consideration, or we can be hateful and angry. We possess all of those things, and we are free to use every one of them. What makes you feel good? Being angry, disgusted, hateful, or being loving and kind? We don't need to depend on somebody else to think for us, for somebody else to tell us how to live our life, for somebody else to tell us what we should or should not believe. We are human beings, and every one of us has at our core the freedom to discern, the freedom to choose, the freedom to speak and to think. And in that freedom lies our hope for the future. If we just choose to use it. We're going to stand up now and we're going to sing, I am free and I am unlimited. And that's because we are divine. It's in our core. We were born with it. We just have to be aware of it and use it. And so it is.